Welcome to We Know Marvel, where we're covering Daredevil Born Again, Episode 3, now with 100% less Daredevil. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, on these mean streets of vigilantism, Sasha Joseph. Sasha, how are you?
I'm stressed the F out. I'm constantly looking around, making sure my head is safe. Listen, no vigilantes alive today.
Listen, you gotta put some of that like bulletproof plate, get some vibranium to put in your
That's what
helmet.
this
Like,
hair is. What do you
yeah. Oh,
mean?
there you go. All that hair product you put in there is probably really
Yes,
protective. Uh,
correct.
listen, vigilantes, you got to protect yourself out there from homicidal maniacs stealing the Punisher's logo. So here we are, episode 3, Daredevil Born Again, aka Law and Order Hell's Kitchen. I don't know, like so. Sasha, give me your overall thoughts on this episode. Like,
Yeah.
big picture it for me.
It was cute or whatever. That's how I feel
Mhm.
about this. But no, really again, a great shot show. We already talked about this, right? Still believe that the way the cinematography, chef's kiss, give it all the Emmys that it needs, but what's going on here? Right? Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm feeling a little bit lost. It was a great shock factor, right? The ending. But I'm just feeling confused, which is why I'm excited to talk through it. Like, I feel confused as to why we even met the White Tiger. Could that not have been just another person?
Yeah, I think what really held this episode up is the performances of
Yes.
everyone involved. The acting was fantastic. Kamar Desos Reyes is fantastic in this role. Um, the Koki sounds at the end of the episode to
Oh,
the credits broke me. Not only for Hector but for Kamar as well, because as for those that don't know, Kamar Desos Reyes plays Hector Ayala. He passed away recently, so that kind of like that hit me hard at the end credits. But yeah, the performances and the story's good. Like, let me make
hmm,
that clear. I like the story. I like everything it symbolizes for Matt when he's talking about vigilantism and all this stuff with Hector. It really hits home for me. But it's just I did come here for Daredevil. Like, the show's called Daredevil. I feel like Daredevil should make an appearance. That's just me.
yeah.
Like, I've seen the discourse online about this episode in particular and the series as a whole, of like there are people that have been like, I mean, yeah, it's good, but where's Daredevil? It's like, you don't get it, man. This is these this story and this performance is so great. I'm like, yes, true, all that's true, but I would like to see some Daredevil in my Daredevil. I would like to see some action going on.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like it was missing something Marvel, and maybe that's the point of Daredevil. But I think knowing that this episode, I believe, was shot again before the overhaul,
Yes.
it actually makes sense why Daredevil wasn't there. It would have been a really good, nice show. I think we would have still enjoyed covering. We would have been mad about, hey, where's Marvel, right? Or where is the
Mhm.
superhero, rather, I should say,
Yeah.
in all of this. That's all, but I enjoyed, I guess, the lawyer episodes, the lawyer
Yeah,
bits.
and listen, Matt Murdock is a lawyer, so it
Yes.
makes sense that we do see Matt Murdock lawyering. I think there
Yep.
are ways we could have incorporated both sides of Matt Murdock, the lawyer
Yeah.
part and the Daredevil vigilante part. We'll get into more of that as we
Or
get
do
into
you
the
think that's
episode.
gonna be, like, every other episode almost now?
I don't know. I don't know if we'll get much more courtroom drama, courtroom antics.
Oh, okay.
I feel like, as you said, this felt definitely like one of the episodes they shot in part of the original conceit of this show, which was to be more focused on Matt Murdock as a lawyer, less focused on the vigilante
Yeah.
stuff. That Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio themselves are like, this ain't working. Like, let's change this up. So I feel like we might not get much more courtroom uh, scenes from this show. But I think as what it did in this episode for courtroom lawyering, I felt like was good.
Yes.
I'm missing Daredevil. Before we get too deep down the rabbit hole of this episode, we want to remind you that we are on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're just listening to us on audio, go to the YouTube. Go to the We Know Scripted TV YouTube. That's where we are. See our
Mhm.
fantastic faces. You can see us emoting as we talk about Daredevil, as we talk about our feelings on the show. We had such a great response to our first episode of the podcast where we covered episodes 1 and 2. Some of you left comments that were very complimentary.
Yeah, thank
We
you.
love that. We love interacting with you when you make YouTube comments. We will be checking those comments every time we post an episode. So we love to hear from everyone out there listening and watching. If you're not watching, if you are listening on an Apple podcast, you can leave a written review. And someone did
Mhm.
leave a written review
Yes.
for us on the We Know Scripted TV Apple Podcast feed. You can leave a review on the We Know Scripted TV feed. You can leave a review on the We Know Marvel feed. We're on both of those feeds.
Yes.
I do want to read the review that came in last week after our episode. It is from Manny01. It's the review is titled Daredevil. It says Sasha and Jason are great. Love the recap. Short and
Thank
sweet.
you.
I love it.
We love
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, thank you, Manny. We love the review, and we really want to
Yes.
keep them coming. We want to show
Mhm.
the people in charge over here at We Don't Script TV that you guys are loving the coverage and
Mhm.
that you want more coverage when other Marvel things come out, when movies come out, when any other TV shows come out. We want you to let them know that you want us to cover, you want us to talk about it. So please leave YouTube comments, leave reviews. We love all of it.
Yes, and I just also wanted to call out, like, Lone Star X10 on YouTube that said they, saw the We Know Scripted TV a few times, but they love the Daredevil,
Mhm.
again, covered so much that, they subscribed, oh my god, to the channel. Amazing.
Love
Thank
it.
you. And really, we're just really interacting with all of this. And Jason, going back to also our conversation about episode 3, something came up that Ting, I hope I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name right. 5273 said that a lot of mixed reactions for first 2 episodes, but rave reviews from people who've watched all 9 episodes.
Yeah.
And to me, after watching episode 3, that couldn't be more true, right? Like, as a whole, if you're binging this and you're just like, oh, I get like 1 episode of courtroom or whatever, a few episodes of courtroom drama, but the majority, right, as a whole on the 9 is like fighting and whatever the first 2 episodes were, I think I would be really happy with all of it. So I wanted to call that out for all of us that are, being like, what's going on? It's feeling disjointed, maybe on purpose.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if like after episode 4 how I'll feel
Mhm.
because this episode is setting up a lot, especially with the
Yes.
very end where Hector gets brutally murdered. It's just like episode 4 is probably going to be like a lot of fallout from that and
Yeah.
hopefully a banger of an episode. So I'm just wondering if the strategy should have been release them in couples, right? 1 and 2,
Mhm.
3 and 4,
I
because 1 and
agree.
2 definitely felt like a pair. I wonder if after episode 4 we'll think 3 and 4 felt like a pair. You should be pairing these episodes up. But we'll see after the episode 4
And
comes
it's a
out how we
very
feel.
random release schedule, where they're
Yeah.
like random 2 episodes, 1 episode, 2 episodes. So
Yeah, for sure.
we're in for the ride, y'all.
Yeah, before we tackle episode 3 as a whole, we wanted
Yes.
to comment on a big theory
Yes.
that's come out after episodes 1 and 2, which for me holds a lot of weight and really makes me feel great about the direction that Daredevil may take, not only in
Mhm.
this season, but for a season 2 that we know is coming, later down the pike. We spent all of the last podcast talking about the fact why would they kill Foggy in the first 5 minutes? That's so crazy. I was
Mhm.
raging against the people at Marvel, like, why would you do this to Foggy? So after the episode came out, there are things that have been noticed, Easter eggs that have been found that hint at some more things that may be going on. So outside of Nelson, Murdock, and Paige in the very beginning of the show, we see our 3 heroes walking outside of their office, and we notice the address, the number on the door of Nelson, Murdock, and Paige is 468. A very intrepid, you know, encyclopedic knowledge, uh, comic book reader clocked the fact
Mhm.
that Daredevil number 468 tackles the storyline of Foggy Nelson, because there was a storyline in comics where Foggy Nelson was presumed dead, but you find out after a while Foggy's not dead. He's a witness protection. And when I saw this theory, it's like that makes so much sense. It like
Right?
because Foggy Nelson is a foundation character for Daredevil, right?
Mhm.
For Matt Murdock. He's like the Aunt May to Peter Parker is
Yeah.
to Foggy Nelson to
And they've
Daredevil.
been friends forever, like all of this.
Yes. So taking away that important piece of Matt Murdock slash Daredevil, which is a lot of times Daredevil's conscience, feels like it feels really rough and really raw. And sometimes in comics, those things do happen. You take away those foundational characters for a little bit to see how your character reacts. You know, I mentioned Aunt May. There's been times in comics where Aunt May has been dead, where Aunt May's been gone for a while, but she always comes back. Aunt May's a tough broad. You can't put her down for long.
Mhm.
So it's these type of characters that are foundational to our main characters. So it makes a lot of sense that we're faking Foggy's death. I love that theory. I really hope
Allegedly,
it's
yeah.
true. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
and we also did find out that Eldon Henson, who plays Foggy Nelson, and Deborah Ann Wall, who plays Karen Page,
Yeah.
are both slated to be back in season 2. So that makes a lot of sense for it to say, you know, let's say that at very end of season 1, we get a moment, we get a post-credit scene where Foggy is in witness protection and like, oh my God, Foggy's alive. So I'm really hopeful for that. I really do think that's where we're headed, especially given that 468 Easter egg. So
Mhm.
it really made me feel better looking at that theory, being like, they didn't just kill Foggy in cold blood for no reason. There's a storyline reason. It doesn't take away from the disappointment that we're not going
Mhm.
to get Foggy for probably this whole season, and we'll probably get a little bit more Karen Page throughout the season. But it doesn't diminish that disappointment, but it does give me hope for the future that we'll get those characters back in a more substantial, hopefully permanent role for season 2.
Yeah. And here's the thing. So I've pulled up the comic. It was called The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson. And also want to say our YouTube commenters also talked about
Yep.
it. Barbie Jackson 7174. We didn't respond to you because we wanted to make sure we talk about it on
Mhm.
the pod. So apologies for not responding. But yeah, so this is really interesting to me because it's called The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson, right? And it seems like in the comic, Foggy sets up his own death. And if you're listening to us, I've pulled up the panel
Mhm.
here on YouTube where Foggy is like saying, "Oh, who'd even know my friends are dead because he's in witness protection." So here's my question for you, Jason. And then it like kind of goes through like him being a little bit like shady almost, right? And he's
Mhm.
laying on the floor, same thing. You know, I know you hated that being your best friend put me in harm's way. Like it seems like he's kind of trying to, like you said, fix and help Daredevil,
Yeah.
but in different ways. So this is why I wanted to bring this up. I don't believe that Foggy might be alive, but I do think that they're gonna bring them back, like for either maybe Foggy's like a ghost conscience or he comes back as like a what's the word, like he comes back as Karen and Foggy, we have just like, oh, here's what happened and
Mhm.
here's we've been going on, just like some flashbacks for it, because again, the comic book reveals that he's been in witness protection, lying to people, has an estranged wife, right? Like all these people know that he's dead, and for that to make sense here would mean that he talked to Bullseye into killing him, or is it that he just survived it?
I think he survived it. I think
Okay.
Bullseye tried to kill him. Yeah, I think we'll get a scene where like Foggy, we put in an ambulance after we think he's dead, but
Okay.
we were able to revive him for whatever reason. And now that he's alive, and there's probably some other grander scheme, maybe that the reason that
Mhm.
Bullseye killed him. So for that reason, we have to keep Foggy's being alive
Yeah,
on
because
the
we
on
don't
the
know what.
down
Yeah.
low. Right. So I think that can definitely play into it. I for one definitely think that there is a lot of credibility to this theory. I do think that is going to be what happens, later down the line.
I like
Um,
it.
yeah, so I love that for us. I love they're going to get more
Yeah, yeah,
Foggy in the future.
I hope it happens. It's just I'm skeptical, and or maybe that was one of the reasons why we did the rehaul, is to be like, "Oh,
Yes,
Foggy's just like gone. What's gonna happen now?"
yeah,
We don't know. We're just wondering.
yeah. I definitely
Uh,
don't think they had
yeah,
that plan before the rehaul. I think with
correct.
the original conceit was that Foggy's gone and he ain't coming back,
Yes,
which is
and so
for
is
me.
Karen.
Yeah, and so is Karen probably, and
Mhm,
for me is like a huge like issue when you're telling a Daredevil story, not
correct.
to have this important character be a part of things going on.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, again, in the comic for this piece, two things. We haven't met the Hand yet. But it seems like Foggy, snuck away from FBI custody into the hands of mobsters, but then he ended up being saved by ninjas who worked for the Hand. So
Yeah.
that's number one. So that could be another way of, like, bringing in, right, another villain,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we
Yeah,
dealt with the Hand in the original
right,
Netflix
exactly.
show. It would be interesting to see if he was brought back to life by the Hand. Maybe that could also be
Mhm.
a possibility. Um, Everyone's being resurrected by the Hand nowadays, so we'll see. But I think the more like straightforward logic is that he was not really dead. He did die for a little bit, but then he was able to be resuscitated, and he's just been in hiding ever since. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that theory. I think it's the theory we're going to have. I'm excited to see what happens in the future. But yeah, let's dive
Yeah. Oh,
into.
what sorry, one more
Oh
thing
yeah,
also.
yeah, yeah.
Vanessa Fisk was
Hmm.
involved in all of that as well. And again, the, like, extra spotlight on Vanessa is interesting. That's all.
Yeah,
We know nothing. We want to make that clear, but y'all know I love a good conspiracy theory. So,
yeah. I'm
yeah.
def. I do remember reading that comics run.
Mhm.
I don't really remember much about it, to be
It was
honest with
like
you.
her revenge plan.
Yeah, but I'm definitely
Yeah.
gonna go back into my
Mhm.
Marvel Unlimited bag. I love Marvel Unlimited. This is not a
Yes.
paid sponsorship, but Marvel
Please
Unlimited is
sponsor.
fantastic. If you have not, if you are into reading the comics and you haven't subscribed to Marvel Unlimited, do that immediately. You get such a library of comics from like I think they go up until 3 months. Anything 3 months or older you can get on Marvel Unlimited with, of
Wow.
course, with some exceptions, but.
Mhm.
For you have a big library of comic books to read if you're a Marvel Limited fan. I love Marvel Limited. So there you go for that. Yeah, so definitely going to revisit that and see if there's anything that I can glean from that.
Yeah.
Episode 3, Daredevil. Okay, we
Yes.
last we left off, episode 2. Matt had just beaten the brakes off of these two corrupt cops who were trying to get to who we learn his full name this episode, Nikki Torres. Try to get to Nikki Torres, who was the confidential informant they were trying to beat up for still reasons unknown to us at the moment. They were trying to beat up Nikki Torres, do whatever they were doing to Nikki Torres. So Nikki Torres ran away from that subway platform. Matt saved Nikki Torres' life last episode by stopping the corrupt cops from killing him, beating the asses of those two corrupt cops. So I kind of thought we would pick up right from there, right from that moment. But no, that moment has passed us. Now the first shot we get is Matt visiting Hector Ayala in his cell. Hector tells this, like, he kind of gives Matt some information, like, listen, yeah, from where I have lived in Puerto Rico, there was a beach near La Kilo. There was these tree frogs, and they called the coqui, and they would make a
Mhm.
distinct sound. Says, tourists hate the sound, but natives, we freaking love it. The
'Cause they
the
mate for life.
coquis mate for life. At sunset, they call out to their one and only love. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. And Matt tells him, Hector, you will be reunited with your one and only love soon. I was like, I mean, that one only love did kind of leave his ass in prison and didn't want to come to any court
She was
appearances, but
tired, okay? We support women's rights and wrongs.
sick
So
and tired. Um,
she said, "Enough, no more white tiger, nothing."
yeah. So we
Oh my
do we keep with the theme of this season so far, 3 episodes in, of kind of Matt and Fisk's lives running kind of parallel. They're not really intersecting much yet. So we kind of get these scenes intercut with what's going on with Matt, what's going on
yeah.
with Fisk. So the next scene that we see two people driving a truck, right? And then we see the truck getting hijacked. The one driver's like, listen, just let them hijack us. This is a thing that happens. And the passenger's like, nah, bro, like, they can't hijack us like this. I'm gonna take a stand. That was not a good idea, because the guy got the passenger and the driver with a bullet in their heads for their troubles. So that happens. We're like, okay, where is this going? I don't know. So we don't know where that's going yet. We shoot to the Fisks, Vanessa and Wilson, having breakfast. So we're trying to make some small talk. Kind of turns into some gangster talk, where Vanessa talks about a piece of art being put up for sale, and she says, I could have bought it and used that sale to launder some money, like 200 mil. I could have used that, but you, with your high and mighty act, now you're all good guy, won't let me do it. That's kind of a bummer. And Fisk tells her, "Listen, I'm done with that. Like, I got higher aspirations and higher goals. We don't really know what those are yet. Like, I really feel like I've gotten one major piece of Wilson's platform, which is no vigilantes, but I don't know what else he's doing."
In my heart, again, I am happy to be proven wrong, and y'all tell me, like, in the comments, like, if I'm just like dead ass wrong, or I'm just like lost, poor unfortunate soul that I am. But I feel like what we're hearing is that I am trying to be a better person, but you keep pulling me back
Mm-hmm.
to the bad life when I'm trying to maybe like get my agenda done, but legally. So he
Yeah.
still hates vigilantes. Like, that isn't necessarily going to change, but I don't know that he like wants to do everything else that comes with it.
Yeah, and I think we see sides of Fisk where it's just like, yeah, I'm trying to be the good guy now, but I still got a little bit of bad in me. Like,
Yeah, yeah, he's a baddie for life.
I'm not completely healed. Like, I got some bad shit going on. I really do. The chief of staff comes in, tells Fisk about the truck hijacking at the Red Hook port. Red Hook is a big theme of things going on. Red Hook is a sketchy place for sure. So things going on in Red Hook.
Hmm.
Fisk tells her, make sure you get Chief Gallo on it. I do believe Gallo is the guy that Fisk threatened last episode. I do believe that's the same person. Once the chief of staff leaves, Vanessa tells him, listen, like, without you or I in power right now, there is chaos reigning. No one, it's like the teacher left the classroom and the kids are just like causing havoc, causing chaos. They're throwing paper wads at each other. They're giving each other noogies. Like, there's stuff
Oh
going
my
on
God.
here. And she says, at some point, someone is going to fill that power vacuum and come after you. This again says, like, Vanessa, the world of violence is not our concern anymore.
Listen, they love your impressions.
Love it.
So
I love it. And we again shoot to Fisk's bloody knuckles. So we're just like, what is Fisk doing to get
whose
these bloody
ass
knuckles?
did he beat?
I'm wondering if like if he's having these urges for violence, and he's
Ooh,
just like, maybe he's like punching a concrete wall or something. He's just
like
like,
a
just
good serial killer. Yeah.
yeah, just to get the urges out. He's like
Yes,
hitting the
yes.
concrete wall. Or is he using Adam's face for like, has Vanessa seen Adam in a minute? Like, when's the last
Is
time Vanessa saw Adam?
is Adam hold away? Is
Yeah, that's
that
what I'm
gonna be
wondering.
one of the things we see that it turns out Adam's been hauled away so that Fisk doesn't hurt anyone else.
Yeah, maybe Fisk is using Adam as his punching bag to get his violent urges out. But like Vanessa's like, I haven't heard from Adam in a couple days. Do you know anything about that?
Nope.
This is like, I have no idea what's going on with your boy toy Adam. I think probably it's more like it's definitely a question to be answered. I do think it's maybe a thing Fisk is doing to get out his violent urges, and because he's not able to really kind of let loose and like smush a guy's head in a car door like he's done before. So I'm very, very curious to see where that's leading to, because it's definitely a thing that has been prevailing in the last few episodes. Like, we're focusing on the bloody knuckles. What's going on there? So I definitely am curious to see where that goes.
Mhm.
We shoot from Fisk's bloody knuckles to Matt's bloody knuckles. He's washing his knuckles off in a sink. He's still got bruises on him from when he beat the shit out of that cop. And honestly, this cop comes into the restroom where Matt is, and this man looks pretty good for some of this guy's neck like crushed in the last episode. Like, as we
Yep.
saw Matt like slam him to the ground, I was like, why aren't you in traction right now, my G? Why don't you have one of those like neck braces on to keep your neck straight? Because it seems like you got worked in that last episode. But really, all that's really we can really see on him is like bruises on his face and all that stuff. So I was like, maybe you have a superpower, Officer Powell, because you seem to have some quick healing there. Because your neck should be broke, my guy. Because that was pretty graphic last episode.
Oh my God, the way again, this is the thing, like, I dream because I'm so blunt, right? Like, I could never be that eloquent with my words, but the fact that he's just dragging him and they
Mm-hmm.
both can't be like, "Yeah, I wanted him to know it was me." Like, that
Yeah,
didn't happen.
yeah. And
But that was so good.
Powell's like, bruh, you're supposed to be a blind lawyer, but you kicked my ass last night. So what is going on? Like,
Who are
that's
you?
what I'm surprised Powell didn't come in and try and like give him a blind test, like throw something at him, like, you see this, like come to him like you would see an old sitcom, like, Like, you see this? Like, you say you're blindfolded, or you're blind, or whatever. You see this? I'm surprised he didn't do that. He's like, you can probably take his glasses off inside now, because I mean, I know this blind lawyer shtick is not really a thing, because you beat my ass the other day. And Powell basically threatens to get Matt thrown off the case by revealing that Matt, did this, beat some cops' asses, and Matt throws right back at him. He's like, "Oh, you want to play that game? I can go tit for tat for that, because I can get you, put away for witness tampering, because you did try to freaking kill / intimidate Nikki Torres yesterday. So you got stuff on me, I got stuff on you. So let's just call it a day. So you don't threaten me, I won't threaten you. Like, let's just be bygones at this point."
Yep, and it should have just been a good boxer, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
So funny.
Cherry, retired officer Cherry, goes to meet up with Nikki in the safe house that they put him up in. Nikki's not doing great, because Nikki's on the stuff. Nikki's on the sauce, and Nikki needs a little bit more, sauce to get himself feeling good and ready to stand up in court to testify. So Cherry has brought him some candy, if you will. If you
boo to Nikki. Nikki, when I catch you.
we got to get Nikki stabilized and right for court. We do see we are in court now. We do see Officer Powell being questioned on the stand. We get the good cop routine, like, "Oh, Officer Powell, you're such a great cop. You have so many commendations for integrity, community service." And he's like, "Yeah, me and my partner Kel, we're good guys. We volunteered to work New Year's Eve because we all of our other brothers in the law and order business have families, and our kids are grown up, so we want to do the right thing, work New Year's Eve." He says, "We went to the subway platform. And this guy, Hector, he just came and attacked us randomly for no reason. And he pushed my partner in front of a train." And, he plays the really grieving partner act really well. Really, the case against Hector is not very strong to me, because it's like they really gave the man no motive. Like, it just seemed like he'd randomly came and attacked these people. Like, that doesn't make any sense, really, to me.
No, and here's the thing. It's what they're trying to portray, which is why I think Punisher needs to come, is that I think they're just like, it doesn't actually matter what you say or do. It's just that easy for the cops to get away with it.
Yes, for sure. Especially with someone like Hector,
Yes.
who was, an immigrant, who was, someone that is not looked on favorably.
But how are you even an immigrant if you're from Puerto Rico?
But see, that's how the American system thinks.
Yes, I know.
If you're not from the what is it? Contiguous?
Continuous. Continuous.
Oh. Don't give us a geography test, people. Don't
Please.
do it. The contiguous United States. So if you're not from the big part of the country, they think you're an immigrant. Okay, so
fair.
All right, Matt's turn. Matt's turn to grill Officer Powell. Yes, Officer Powell's like, I'm told, because I'm blind, everybody. I'm told that you have a black eye.
Him like opening the stick randomly from time to like his walking stick. Unserious.
Like, I want to make sure y'all hear me open my walking stick.
Yes.
Because I'm blind, if you didn't know. He says, Officer Powell, I'm told that you have a black eye. He says, he's like, I hope you're doing okay. I'll be all right.
Yeah, I didn't mean to jump the gun on this, but it's just so funny.
He's like, I hear the best cure for a black eye is fast hands. Like, damn. Especially since Matt and Powell are the only two people in the room right now that know what really happened.
That's what I'm saying. Jason, the fact that he can't even be like, "You ugly bitch, it was you." Like, shut up. They just both have to play along.
Yeah.
And truly, I have screenshotted those just so if someone pisses me off, I will be posting those.
So Matt grills Officer Powell about his story. So it was just you two on the platform, nobody else. It was you and your partner, and then Hector just came and attacked you. That's the story. Powell says, yeah, just us. He's like, oh, so there wasn't a confidential informant there that you were beaten up? That's not what happened? So Matt says, I happen to know that this man is named Nikki Torres. Does that name ring a bell, Officer Powell? Powell's like, no, no, I don't think so. I don't recall. I don't recall. Should have been his response. I don't recall that name.
Please, someone immediately put the Kiki Palmer gift. I don't know that man.
Yeah,
If
for
we were
real.
walking down the street, I wouldn't know him, and I'm
That
sorry to that man.
doesn't ring a bell. Matt basically calls Powell out. He says, Actually, the truth is that Nikki is a confidential. It has been a confidential informer for you and Kel for a while, and you arranged a meeting with Nikki that night." Powell keeps denying it. And in the galley of the courtroom where all the audience is, we see a cop telling someone that Torres cannot testify. And
Mhm.
so a lot of things are happening in this moment here. We see him telling someone that, and we see as he's telling the person, we see that Punisher tattoo on his neck that we saw on Officer Powell last episode as Matt was delivering that beatdown. Matt, with the super hearing hears this officer say this. So he's like, Matt knows, like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely on something. There's definitely a plot here that is centered around Nikki Torres. So that rings Matt's alarm bells.
And here's the tea. Stop teasing me, Daredevil. I don't
Mhm.
like it. I know it's only 3 episodes, and I need to be all calm, but stop doing a good job,
Yeah.
okay? Because all this tells me is that Nikki Torres is about to be in some shit, deep
Yeah,
shit.
for sure. So we see Officer Cherry preparing to transport Nikki to the courthouse to testify. They obviously expect some trouble. So Cherry is driving the policeman. I thought we saw Nikki get into the van. I don't know for sure. Didn't know that something was going on. But Cherry is noticing that he's getting tailed by the cops. A cop does stop him, and it is Officer Powell. Powell comes up. He's like, "Hey, like, open up your van. Like, I want to see what's in the back." Uh, Cherry opens the back. Wouldn't you know it? Nikki's not there. There was an old switcheroo played on us, and one of Cherry's friends or affiliate, whoever this guy, I don't really
Mhm.
think he gets named here, has brought Nikki to court. So I was like, okay, cool. That's pretty cool. Like we knew trouble was coming, so we had the old switcheroo happen. Nikki's on the stand. He testifies. He talks about his history. So yeah, I got caught dealing drugs,
Mhm.
but I was able to get the charge, taken away by agreeing to be a confidential informant. Matt asked Nikki, "So were you on the subway platform that night?" This is what Nikki came here for, to tell us all about the night in question. And now he was roughed up by Powell and Kel. Wouldn't you know it? Nikki clams up. He says, "No, I wasn't there. I was home all night."
Ooh, raggedy. Whoo.
Yeah, I think Nikki got on the stand. He saw all the other cops in the audience.
Mhm.
Probably got a little frightened that if he testified against the cop, that he would be, there would be some bad stuff that happened to him because Nikki probably knows something about something. That's why Powell and Kel were beating his ass that night. He knows something about something, and he at this
And
point
you know
realized
he stumbled on it by mistake. You know it
probably,
can't be
yeah,
like some oh my god, I mean, Nikki.
yeah. And he realizes now, seeing all the cops, he should probably shut the F up because nothing good is going to come from testifying for Hector at this point. So I do wonder if he came to this realization before he got to the stand, or if actually getting to the stand made him come to this thought. Because it was
I
quite a
I
surprise.
thought that maybe someone got to him, but you're right. I think it just has to be that he saw like, oh, these are all the people or some of the people that have the Punisher tattoo gang, whatever you want to call them, are maybe out to get me, and now I see them.
Yeah, because why go through all this rigmarole in the first
Yep.
place if you're just going to come up there and deny that what you told Matt? So
Correct.
Matt is pissed. He's like, you told me that you saw this happen. Like that's what you told me, right? Like why? Like
Mhm.
I would turn to the judge like, Judge, I'm not stupid. Why would I bring him here if he didn't tell me? Like I feel like at some point common sense has to prevail. Like, do you see this, Judge? You see this bullshit? You see what's going on here? Like I am the one that called him. Why would I call him if he didn't tell me what he saw? Well, no, I guess I gotta have evidence. Oh, fine, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
but you can't, unfortunately. We wish
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
know.
More common sense. Let's do it, America, America.
Listen, the vibes. Come on, the vibes are off.
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact words Matt should have used. Like, Judge, can I get a vibe check? Because this ain't right, right? This ain't
He's
this
like,
this ain't
I'm
happening.
a human lie detector,
Yeah,
and
wait,
let
I
me
got a
just
thing. Like, I
quickly
know I have
tell you.
Yeah, I know I haven't said it before, but I got a thing, or I can tell when people are lying. He's definitely lying. So it's like Matt's pissed off. He's like, all right, like get out of here, Nikki. Like you're no longer my witness. Like go away.
Giving
Um,
us nothing.
Nothing. So we then go to there's a meeting under a bridge that's going on. Uh, we see Fisk's henchman, who we learn later is named Buck. Buck is there to talk to some of the what seems to be some of the heads of the crime families
Yeah.
in New York that's going on right now. And these were apparently the gangs involved in that in the truck hijacking we talked about earlier in the episode.
Mhm.
And basically it's almost like two kids coming to tell on each other to the teacher, like, hey, he stole he hijacked my truck, Mr. Buck or Mr. Fisk. They're all mad
Yeah,
because
Mr.
Fisk is not.
Yep.
They're all mad because Fisk isn't there because they thought they were going to be meeting with Wilson this time, but Buck has been sent in Wilson's place. He basically
Listen, we
tells,
just need dad.
yeah, they just need an adult. We need an adult to settle these
Yeah.
beefs. And Buck tells them, all right, listen, let's straighten this whole thing out. Luca, you owe Victor $1.8 million for hijacking his truck. Consider it restitution. So pay the man, pay up. Actually, I'm not sure if it was that or if he gave Luca a check, or Luca or Victor. He gave Victor a check for the 1.8. I'm not really sure what that was.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Either way, they're trying to
Mhm.
squash it. They're trying to
Yes.
squash the beef. And Luca's like, nah, man, like I ain't for that. Like, I don't care what you're talking about. I don't work for the mayor. Like, I don't work for the stooge of the mayor. And I don't work for the stooge that works for the mayor, basically. And Buck is like, nah, man, I don't work for the mayor. I work for the man. So it's like, oh, okay. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so is Fisk trying to use other resources to squash beefs rather than violence? Is that part of his plot? Is that part of his plan? So at this moment,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
I like
thinking.
that. Yeah, yeah, I didn't think of that because I was just thinking that he's almost, like, trying to close all the loops that he had
Yeah.
open.
Yeah, so I mean, that was my thinking at the moment. But we come back to Murdoch and Co. Murdoch and
Mhm.
McDuffie, the name of the law firm. Matt, Kirsten, and Cherry are all trying to strategize, figure out how they're going to proceed without their star witness Nikki. We're trying to figure out, can we get proof that Nikki is Powell and Kel's CI? Cherry can't find anything in the system that would point to that. Matt says, our last resort that we got to pull out is putting Hector on the stand to tell his story and have the jury see him in the way that we do as a true community hero. We are now with the Fisks again with Vanessa and Wilson. They are at their counseling session with Heather, but Heather has not joined them yet. We find out
Yep.
in a minute that they're just talking one-on-one right now. No one else is in the room. Vanessa tells Fisk that she is the one that sent Buck to tell Luca that Victor owes him $1.8 million. Fisk, I like Fisk. Like, Vanessa, be careful that you don't do something that will lose my trust. And
Do
it's like a very, very, very veiled like threat. Like, hey, like,
Yes.
be careful. Like, tread lightly because you doing too much right now. Like this, you're doing a lot.
Here's my question. Is Vanessa going to be the reason, right? Like, for whichever way this goes, that Fisk almost ends up being pulled back
Yeah,
into
for
the
sure.
crime,
I
right?
think
That, like,
Vanessa.
he's gonna piss him off and he's gonna have to
Mhm.
clean it up, or he is going to just be so pissed at her that he's just gonna blow it all up.
Yeah, I think Vanessa she's doing stuff in his name, and she might do something that's so over the line in his name
Mhm.
that it forces him to revert to his baser instincts and react with some violence or react to fix something that Vanessa may have kickstarted. I can definitely see that being the case, like
Yeah.
because we see, as you said, Fisk is trying to go into the light. Vanessa's like, nah, boo, let's go back into the dark. I like the dark. I like doing dirt in the dark. Let's
Now
go
that
back
you've
to that.
introduced me, let's
Yeah,
keep it
for sure.
going.
Like, listen, Wilson, I was a harmless art dealer before you met me, and you brought me into this life of violence and crime, and I found out I kind of like it. So let's go back
When
to that.
she says I could wash for 100 million, like, just like that, I was like, "Girl, damn."
She girl boss to a million. She fell into that lifestyle rather quickly, to be honest. Like it's like that. She's almost a natural at it. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, Vanessa tells Fisk, listen, I hate seeing what we built start to fall apart. Fisk tells her, I can respect you wanting to keep the peace, but sometimes peace needs to be broken and chaos must reign in order to build a stronger order. Vanessa
I feel
accuses,
like that's a setup.
for
Again,
sure.
that line, bookmark it.
Yeah, it also shows that Fisk has a greater agenda. So that
Mhm.
maybe like he's not, totally on the side of right. He's trying to do something else, maybe. I don't know. But that was definitely a moment where I was like, oh, interesting. So you do have a broader agenda here. Like he wants there to be squabbling so that he can maybe bring down the hammer on these people and show
Yeah.
that he is pro law and order or whatever. Uh so Vanessa is like, actually, Wilson, I feel like you're just like keeping me from this life of crime to punish me for Adam. I was like, oh, okay, so we bringing this into it. So all throughout this, I'm thinking they're doing this in front of Heather, the therapist, right? To try and get all those squabbles,
Mhm.
but no, Heather's not even here. Heather then comes in. So it's like, I wonder if Fisk and Vanessa are just like, this is a grown folks talk. When Heather comes in here, we're gonna just talk about some other stuff. Like we're not gonna talk about this. This is grown
Not
folk
the
talk.
real stuff, no.
Not the real stuff. We're gonna put out a other thing to talk to Heather with Heather about. It's like, what is even the point of counseling if you're not gonna be honest? I guess, but whatever.
Well, you
Oh,
can't maybe tell the lady, the
yeah,
cop lady.
she got to report crime. She hears it, so yeah, we can't be spilling all the tea in this.
And
Charity
imagine,
session.
like, hearing your mayor is, like, corrupt, more than corrupt,
For
and
sure.
that your boyfriend is right.
Yeah, I know that Heather probably can't tell Matt
Yes,
that she
of
is
course.
counseling the Fisks, but ugh, it's gonna come out some way, and that's gonna
There
be
it's gonna be bad. It's gonna
it's
be
gonna be
bad,
bad.
and
Yeah.
I think Matt is gonna be, like, so betrayed, and I wonder again what comes of that blow up.
Yeah, for sure. We do get Hector testifying on
Mhm.
the stand. He basically tells the side of the story. He gets a little choked up talking about what happened. He talks about the fact that he finally was able to save up enough money to get him and his wife their own place. He talks about the fact that he lives with his sister and his niece. We shoot to his wife and who I think is probably his niece,
Yeah.
which is interesting for people that know the comic book lore to be like, okay, are we looking at maybe the future White Tiger in this galley here? I don't know. We'll see. But basically, he says, I was able to finally get enough money to put a deposit down for me and my wife to have our own place. And it looks like the wife is just now hearing this. This is the first time she's hearing this. She's like, oh my God, like
Mhm.
she didn't even know. Hector talks about saving Nikki on the platform that night. He says, I was just going down to the subway platform. I saw these guys beating up somebody and I stepped in. I had no idea that the attackers were cops. Tried to break it up. One of them slipped, fell on the tracks, and got hit by the train. Pretty simple, right? Matt says, so Hector, this isn't the first time that you've stepped in to save someone, right? Like, it seems like this is a thing you do a lot. Hector is obviously confused. He's like, are you about to do what I think you're about to do? Like, this ain't like, because I didn't want to do this. Kirsten tells Matt, like, calm down. Don't do this. Don't do what I think you're about to do.
Like, we literally just fought to keep that
Mhm.
out, and
Yep,
now here we are.
they got if you remember from last episode, they got they Matt fought to get the evidence that he was White Tiger taken out
Mhm.
of the court proceedings. But Matt goes ahead, reaches into his briefcase, takes out the White Tiger mask, and says, Hector Ayala, you are in fact the White Tiger, are you not? Everyone gasps. Gasp. Everyone's shocked, including Hector, that he's just been outed by Matt in court. The judge calls order to the court, calls Matt and the DA to his chambers, and he reads Matt the riot act for how dare you get this White Tiger evidence thrown out just for you to then use it for your defense. That's some bullshit. Basically, what the judge
Judge is
says.
better than me. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that. I'll
we've
tell
been
you
throwing
that right
hands.
now.
We'd have been throwing hands inside of the chambers. Um, the judge is like, listen, I can't. There's no way to contain this information. I can't
Mhm.
tell the jury to disregard it because this is too big to disregard. I can't call a mistrial because the information's out there already. And he basically tells Matt, like, listen, like we have to go with this. It's open. He says open season on Hector. Like now you've opened a door to all this other stuff. So be ready for it. The DA pulls Matt aside, like, listen, bro, like this is crazy. I'm gonna make your life hell now. Like you gonna have a tough time even in traffic court now with all this crap you done pulled. I was like, oh, okay, cool, nice threat.
But that's what I'm saying, like, in my mind, they have to do something because this is crazy. Matt, and I love it. I love it for us because for me personally, in times that feel so helpless,
Mhm.
right? Where you're just kind of like watching the world go by, you just want your hero to like do whatever it has to do to get, to get the desired outcome.
Yeah.
So to me, it felt like cathartic to be like, yeah, finally someone in charge.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Sometimes stuff has to
Yep.
happen. So, but I think the way that Matt made the omelet that is the problem. Because Matt meets with Hector back in his cell, and Hector's like, "Bro, like that was not your secret to tell. Like, why would you do that without consulting me?" Matt basically tells him, "Listen, we had to take a big swing. We had to do something, or else you were going to go to jail." Matt tells Hector, like, "Listen, bro, like, yes, now that I did this, the issue is if you get acquitted, no more White Tiger, because this is like everyone knows it's you now, so
Mhm.
you probably shouldn't be White Tigering anymore if you get out." Hector's like, "Nah, I can't do that because White Tiger is who I am. It's a calling. I didn't choose it. It chose me." And Matt, who may be talking to himself here, says,
Yep.
"Hey, like there are other ways to help without a mask. This advice to you to give up the mask is about your family, not about you." And Matt tells him, "You would be surprised at how easily you could find that you don't miss being him," which I think Matt is kind of telling himself. I don't know
Yes.
if Matt truly believes it because I think deep down Matt misses the Daredevil of it all, but he's trying to choose the lighter path than going to the Daredevil because it feels like he's like trying to convince both Hector and himself that he's better off without the vigilantism, however you want to put that.
$1,000,000%.
Yeah, but I do think it was real grimy for Matt to do this to Hector without consulting him. Hector would have said no, obviously, but I think Matt felt like he was put into a corner, and this was really the only way
Mhm.
to get out. It was either this or jail for Hector. So in Matt's mind, it was like, well, you know, I got you out, right? Like that's really what matters.
And
Uh,
again, I think that this is all since episode 1 has been, I think, leading up to get him to be Daredevil again.
yeah, I mean,
So
listen,
this was like a really like I don't know if sad's the right word, messy way to get us there, and especially at the expense of like a character we were enjoying.
yeah, and it's a little hypocritical as well for Matt to
Mhm.
do this because, like, I think they shoot to Officer Cherry when Matt reveals it's like, really, bro? Like, I know who you are, and I know that you wouldn't want someone doing this shit to you. So why are you doing this to Hector? And it's a little, pardon the pun, short sighted
Yeah.
for Matt to do this, for Matt to out Hector in this manner because number one, Hector probably, well, the White Tiger himself has probably made some enemies. So whether or not Hector goes back out as White Tiger after this,
Correct.
he's still going to have a target on his back if he gets out because everyone now knows that Hector is White Tiger. So I feel like Matt kind of rushed into this without really thinking about the consequences for Hector and his family because it's not even just about whether or not Hector chooses to go back out there. The cat's out of the bag. People know it's Hector now. People are going to expect things out of Hector. Hector's going to have made enemies out in the streets. So this was really kind of a not a great move for Matt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just like you said, short-sighted, not thought through. And my question is also, I feel like be prior to or not even yeah, like since we've met Hector, it's giving like mom and pop shop, right? Like it's
Mhm.
not even as like the way Daredevil is, White Tiger from what we've seen is very much like on the streets, vigilantism on
Yep.
the ground, person, man of the people type stuff. So never to me felt like he had this like really big operation behind him. So now the fact that he's exposed like that is what it's just it's not working. And then I don't know why Matt Murdock as Daredevil wouldn't then like give him some tips or do something
Yeah,
to
that
help
that
him out.
that brings me to like I really wish we could have because I think a good way
Mhm.
to give us our cake and eat it too, right? Like
Yeah.
I understand we want to tell this story of Matt Murdock giving up the Daredevil mask and not being Daredevil and trying to fight that urge. But I feel like a good way for us to do that and also give us some Daredevil action is maybe have a mechanic in the show, right? Where we see flashbacks to Matt being Daredevil in
Yep.
that time between the Netflix series and the Disney series start. And I would have loved to see Daredevil and White Tiger interact in their costumed vigilante mode, and to have that, juxtaposed to Matt counseling Hector, where
Yep.
Hector doesn't know that Matt was Daredevil, but Matt obviously knows that Hector was White Tiger. I would have loved to have seen, number one, I would love to have seen Hector as White Tiger in action, because we had all these stories and all these like instances where we're like, White Tiger did this, White Tiger did that. But we have not really seen White Tiger in action saving people. We saw one clip in the beginning of episode 1 where there was a news report on White
Right.
Tiger, but outside of that, we never saw White Tiger actually White Tigering. And I think
And
it
the
would have been
one time he was fighting someone, he's not in
right,
costume.
exactly. So I think it would have been fun to see Daredevil go up against White Tiger and be like, hey, like another vigilante, like that's crazy. Like I got my other friends, Luke Cage and Iron Fist and
Yes.
Jessica Jones, but I met a new vigilante, and just to kind of see, to give us a glimpse of what that was like. I would have loved that, but I feel like they kind of squandered this. They squandered
They
the White
rushed
Tiger
it.
persona. They definitely rushed it.
Because I do think that they needed to kill him, and this whole Punisher storyline, I'm with it. But why not have him save people and then get ambushed? Right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I just say, as in, and that actually takes off another like action sequence, right? So we get our action for the episode, number
Mhm.
one. Secondly, he like goes out after like saving people, but then we realize maybe it's an ambush, and then blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. So maybe 5 more minutes, and I get it, like, action sequence costs a lot of money, but you're Marvel. What are we doing here?
Yeah, and listen, I don't want to sound like, oh, I love action, fight, 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 punch, punch, punch.
Yeah.
But I do kind of expect that out of a Marvel Comics show. So sue
Mhm.
me. Like I get it. I understand. Like there's more nuance to this show. There's performances, this and that. But I also want to see some fighting. That's what I come here for. I feel like a strength of the Netflix Daredevil show was the fight choreography, and we got this shitty CGI fight sequence in episode 1 that was just like, do something to redeem yourself. Show me a raw, visceral, maybe team up with Daredevil and White
Yes.
Tiger as they're beating a gang's ass. I would love that. That would be so awesome and cool. But I feel like the show in its original conceit was like taking itself a little too seriously. Like we're we're
Oh, yep.
we're more than a
I agree.
superhero show. We don't need
Yep.
a superhero costume to make you feel things, to make you have a good show. Yes, that's true, but I still would like to see that. Like I still would have
And
loved to
and
have
the
that.
point of Daredevil has always been that it's gritty and in your
Yes.
face.
Yes.
So, sure, the fact that, like, the way this man just gets offed,
Yes.
is gritty, it's, like, shocking, it's all of those things, but he's just walking down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I definitely hear you on that, because it's like he was killed off in such an unceremonious manner, which
Correct.
does lend to the brutal nature of it. But I feel
Mm.
like you're right. I feel like I would have loved to see him in action and then get taken down in kind of a random way. Like maybe he does save someone, and at the very end, someone comes
That's
out and
what I'm
just
saying.
pops him in the
Yes.
face. We get the same brutality, but you also get to see Hector in action in the White Tiger suit being a hero.
Yep.
Would have
And
loved
we
that.
would, like I said, get our little, like, Marvel fight scene moment as
Yes.
well. So it would have and here's the thing, here's how we could have made it really devastating. He should have been going home to his wife, who on the phone,
Yep.
excited to talk to her. They're reconciling, all of that, and then all
Yes.
she hears is the shot.
Yes, Sasha. Devastate me. Devastate me, Sasha. Do it.
I'm just saying,
Make
like,
me
if we're
cry.
gonna go there, right? Like, let's go there. Why did we get introduced to his wife?
Yeah, they didn't even share a scene together in
Yeah.
any context. They were never in the same shot. So it's like, okay, that's you're and I hate when shows tell me and don't show me. Like, hey, Hector is a hero. He does this, this, and this for the community. Show me. Don't just tell me. Show me. I want to see it. So that's definitely a big criticism I have
Mhm.
for this storyline as a whole. But we come back to court, and now that now that the truth is out about Hector,
Yeah.
we get all these kind of witness statements and victim statements about White Tiger saving them. He saved a family from a burning car. He saved a woman from getting mugged. We hear about police reports where cops are saying White Tiger came and helped the cops, and we are listing cops that have filed reports about this. And we're going on a list of cops, and we hear Officer Morales. It's like, oh, is that Miles's daddy? Like, is that Miles's father, the other Spider-Man? Is that his dad?
Ooh.
Because like I think they definitely put that in there to make us.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah,
I did
because
not think of that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a coincidence. Like, I think that's on purpose. So it's more just like subtly putting things in the canon, because we know that Miles Morales is alive in this universe.
Yes.
We know he's a thing. We met his uncle Aaron in the first Spider-Man movie in the MCU, so we know that Miles is a thing. And to keep like dropping names of Officer Morales, because I think in part of the comics, his dad is a cop. Certainly in these Spider-Verse movies, his dad is a cop. So that makes a whole lot of sense. So
Yeah.
I love that they put that in there as a little Easter egg for all of us that would notice. Matt's asking, Matt's talking to the jury basically. He's like, hey, even the cops are talking about White Tiger as an ally. Hector's back on the stand. Matt says, so why are you doing this? Like, why do you help people? And Hector says, because it's the right thing to do. He repeats it several times throughout this conversation. He leans into the mic, says, it's the right thing to do. That's why he does this. Matt turns to the jury and says, listen, why on earth would it make any sense for Hector to attack the police? You just heard from the police that Hector is an ally. You heard from many people that Hector is a hero. Why would he do this? Why would he attack two cops, especially without his White Tiger amulet? Like, with everything you heard here today, does Hector Ayala seem like the type of person that would murder a cop in cold blood? This man is a hero. If they could, everyone rouse and applause. Like, yes, Matt. snaps, Matt.
Order in the court.
Passionate defense of Hector Ayala. Loved it. Like I said, I do love seeing Matt Murdock in this arena. We did not get a whole lot of this in the original Netflix series, but I do love that we're getting it here. I just wish it was more evenly balanced with the Daredevil stuff. Like, I like Law and Order. I watch Law and Order. I'm a big fan, but I need a little vigilanteism in my attorney soup or something, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And again, I think this works on the binge. It just doesn't work because this is all we have seen so far. Yeah. But we'll see.
Well, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, people that have seen all 9 episodes are really giving it rave reviews, and it does feel like we have to kind of trudge through the original material that was shot to get to the reimagined series. We got to get through these, whatever is left from that original 6 episode arc that was shot. We got to get through it to get to the better stuff of the show that we're used to, right? Because this is good material. This is good stuff. Like, nothing is awful. I just wish we had more stuff here, and it seems like we're going to get that later down the line. The DA, Hochberg, is now arguing his side of the case. He says, listen, yeah, Hector Ayala did some great stuff. Cool. That does not mean that this man is incapable of doing bad things. Good people do bad things. Bad people do good things. Everyone's human. Everyone does bad stuff. He looks at the jury. He's like, do you know what happens when you're hit by a train? All your bones break. Your insides liquefy. You're not even dead. You're not dead until the train backs over you or whatever. He said, I was like, oh, that is not great. That's gross. I was almost expecting him to like pull out crime scene photos. Like,
yeah, me too.
You see what this man did to Officer Kell or whatever.
Or at least have some kind of like representation, like a watermelon.
Yeah, smash a watermelon. That's what happened to Officer Kell. Everyone put on your Splash Zone smocks. I'm gonna smash this watermelon.
Oh my god. Okay, SeaWorld.
It's like, you see that? You see all that watermelon juice on you? That was Officer Kell's insides when that train hit him. Like, just be really crass with it. Really, really crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Hochberg says doing good does not excuse Hector Ayala from throwing a man in front of a train. He says, he gives the defense, hey, cops go out there every day, serve and protect. and they do it without a mask. Why does Hector need a mask? Real heroes don't need to hide. Okay, all right, whatever. It's I could say so much about that, but we'll leave it for.
It's like, have you what? Have you been in the world? What's going on?
Have you read a comic book? Because people that know superheroes identities go after their families. That's why the man needs a mask.
And that's why we're pissed that the White Tiger is known.
That's right. Later on, Matt is in the courtroom alone. He's in a moment of thought, a moment of peace, and in this moment, he is kind of like holding that piece of the Daredevil mask, that horn of off the mask Karen
Mhm.
gave him in the first episode. He's kind of holding it as we've seen him kind of fidget with it before in episodes. He's really contemplative and thought. I wish I could have gotten some insight into what exactly he's thinking in this moment. Maybe is he figuring out like, I hope this works? Is he like thinking about what he did to Hector? I would love to get some little bit of insight for that.
It's probably a little bit of everything, and here would have been a great way for Foggy to come back as his conscience,
Yeah, Force
right?
Ghost
And
Foggy.
yeah, and like a conversation about like, that wasn't great, but you did what you needed to, some version of that.
Yeah.
Like, you did what you needed to do, and now like things are happening.
Yeah, so it's time for the verdict. Uh, Hector is found not guilty on all charges. I thought maybe he would have gone for manslaughter. I think that probably would have
Mhm.
that probably actually would have been apt because he did
Yeah.
kind of inadvertently cause this man's death. He didn't mean to, but he kind of did. But luckily, he's found not guilty. We see all the cops in the gallery like real pissed, real upset. We see Hector and his family, along with Matt and his people, all leaving the courtroom. And that moment, I was like, is something about to pop off here? Like as he's leaving the court,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of pissed off cops right now. But we do see Fisk watching the coverage, and Fisk tells his little underling Daniel, get me that young reporter that you sent here before, BB Urick. Get me her right now. Later, Matt is celebrating with Heather. He's cooking Heather a meal. And he talks about what him and Foggy used to do when he used to win cases. When they were young upstart lawyers, they bought this, they scrounged money together, bought this bottle of liquor, and they would toast with it every time they won a case. He breaks it out for him and Heather. They talk about Foggy a little bit. Matt says it has been easy without him. Foggy knew how to enjoy the good moments. They cheers to Foggy, and Heather says, "May God hold them all in the hollow of his hand," which is what the episode is titled. Hold them all in the hollow of his hand.
Mhm.
We then see Fisk talking to BB Urick. She's taping him. He's talking to her for her little the BB report. He says, which they did some great interstitials within the episode of people talking on the BB report about like New York and the crime. And I love one of the guys is like,
Yes.
it's like, you mess with me, you're gonna get my piece to your head. I was like, oh my, like that's violent. But I do love those interstitials. I'm going to say something really cliche, but it's fine.
Yes.
I love that New York is a character in this
Yeah.
show.
Mhm. Well, it
You
has
see,
a heartbeat. It
yeah,
literally has a heartbeat.
yeah, you see the sights, you see the
Yeah.
sounds, you get like an insight into the people of New York through the BB report interstitials. I really enjoy those.
Here's
Um,
also something, Jason, I caught with the BB report, right? That when she does the clap,
mhm.
it's 2024, which in Marvel timeline, right, means that these people just came. Some of these people just came back from the
Yes,
blip.
yeah. So I was like, I mean, the people came back in 2023. I feel like,
Yeah,
and so
or
it's
something like that.
yeah,
But
it's
either
been
way,
some time.
I'm
It's been
like,
some time, but not a lot of time.
y'all too mad for people that just got their lives back.
Y'all should be enjoying getting your life back, getting back
Yeah,
together, connecting with your family again. Don't
exactly.
be bitter and mad. Jeez. But
That's
yeah, that's
I just needed to call it out because
yeah, it's a
that,
good thing to
like, is
clock.
what's taking me out of all of this.
Yeah. No one should be mad here. We all came back to life.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah. So Fisk is talking to BB about this verdict is a miscarriage of justice. He says a mass vigilante is out here roaming the streets. Meanwhile, a cop is dead. Um, as Fisk is talking to BB, we see Hector suiting back up in his white tiger, costume, uniform, outfit, whatever you want to call it. Fisk says, vigilantes are a threat to the rule of law. Any man who wears a mask is a coward. Fisk says he made a promise, he's going to keep it. The rule of law must prevail. As this is said, we see Hector out on the streets. Hector hears something. Someone's screaming. Hector's like, time to be a hero. Time to step up. He's really walking down the street to go save somebody. And someone steps out of the shadows and just pops him with a bullet right through the head. Bam. Hector is dead. Shot dead. And we see the shooter walking away from Hector, and he seems to be wearing a Punisher vest, a Punisher shirt, Punisher vest, whatever you want to call it. I was like, God damn it. Hector, not Hector. That definitely was shocking to me. I do like that they are punctuating these episodes with like brutal moments. And that, I talked about earlier, I love the fact that they really did a lot to humanize Hector and to make him a very sympathetic figure. And
Correct.
to have him just brutally taken out in this manner gives the show and gives this storyline a lot of weight. And I really appreciate that fact about it. And as I mentioned earlier, we hear the Koki call throughout the credits, which is like not only a tribute to Hector, but a tribute to Kamar. Love that. I thought that was really powerful. Yeah, that was crazy. And I just think this is going to pop off so much into future storylines.
You know what I just realized as you were talking about this? Do you think, and I don't even know that I believe this fully, but that are we gonna get like a few supers that come in whatever way? Maybe they're all vigilantes, but they come in, they serve their purpose, and then they're killed. Like in She-Hulk, right? When She-Hulk is literally like a lawyer in courtroom fighting for these supers.
I think
Is that why? Like, I'm not trying to get attached to no one else. You know what I mean?
Oh, listen, I think a genius way to come at this is to introduce us to some lesser known vigilantes that you can
Yes,
just say in a police, you could say in a news report. Uh,
correct.
this vigilante, like someone from like the New Warriors, right? Like Night Thrasher is taken into custody for being a vigilante. Someone that
Yes,
we're probably not
correct.
going to meet, someone that we're probably not going to be invested in, but that so that we can see what Fisk's vigilante rule of law is all about. So I definitely think that's definitely something that I would clock. And I do believe that in the run of the comics where Fisk is mayor, he does make his own Thunderbolts roster to take in vigilantes. He deputizes some heroes, well, mostly villains, to be honest. He deputizes some villains to bring in these vigilantes that are are disobeying the vigilante laws. So I would love to see. I think that's too big of a scope to tackle in this series, but I would love to see something like that. But yeah, I love what you suggested there of like maybe seeing some lesser known names
Right.
in news reports getting arrested, or maybe there's some other tragedy that befalls some other
Correct.
vigilantes that we see.
Correct.
I think that would be a like we saw the what was the guy's name? The frog, the
Oh,
frog man in
yeah.
She-Hulk. Like that would be fantastic to see. Just that it doesn't need to be anything big. It just needs to be like a
And it
newspaper
doesn't need
article.
to be, like, funny. It can be serious, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is a real thing happening. But my point is, like, if we're using the white tiger, you're gonna get us invested for 2 whole episodes about him and his family. And fine, if you wanna kill him off, I'm actually not even against it. I think it was really powerful. I just don't understand why you're underutilizing this whole character.
Yes, I definitely see where you're coming from there. I would have enjoyed some more exploration into this. I would have enjoyed him interacting with Matt whenever Matt comes back as Daredevil. To see that interaction would have been fun, but unfortunately, we won't get that. Will we get
Mhm.
Hector's niece coming in as a junior White Tiger? Because she seemed pretty young. So I don't know if we're going to go that level in this season of the show,
Well, we
but that would
still
be
need now the
interesting.
muse to come, so we still
Yeah.
have a whole
We got more things to come, and this is
yeah.
episode, and we're a third of the way through the 9 episode season, so we got a lot to tackle in the next 6 episodes. So that we may be doing things that are too like ambitious for
Fair.
6 more episodes. So, but we love to wish cast storylines here on We Know Marvel and We Know Script TV. So that's fun. I am interested to see how this affects Matt, because Matt
Mhm.
loves to give himself a nice guilt trip. Matt loves to blame himself for things, and let's be honest, he is a little bit to blame here. Actually, probably a lot to blame here. He did try and warn Hector off of being White Tiger, but I still think he's really going to beat himself up over this. Is this what is going to encourage him to pick up the Daredevil mantle again? I don't know. If I was to guess, we might not even see Daredevil next episode. I don't know. I hope we do. I don't want another episode to go by without Daredevil being
I
in.
think we
Daredevil
have
Born
to
Again.
get a lot of wallowing next episode.
Yeah, he's going to take this pretty hard.
Yeah.
And so the fact that someone wearing a Punisher symbol committed this crime, I wonder if there's going to be a witness to testify to that says the Punisher did it. The Punisher killed White Tiger, and that brings Punisher out from wherever he's hiding, and now he's going to be on a crusade to figure out what's going on.
Mhm.
I would love for Frank Castle to come to Matt Murdock and say, "Hey, Red," and just be like, you think he's going to be on this like crusade to kill people? He's like, "Red, I actually got to talk to you about some copyright infringement that I want to bring a case.
Oh my
People are using my
god.
logo. People use my logo to do stuff, and I don't like it."
Do
So,
we see their team up? Can you imagine?
in court, or in like in terms of
No.
uh Daredevil and Punisher? I mean, we
Mhm.
will see that. We'll definitely see that. I just
Frank,
wonder.
are you coming?
Yeah, Frank's going to be here. We're going
Okay.
to get a Frank. But I do wonder if what Daredevil's reaction is going to be to Frank Castle when he shows up. Is he going? Is because I would imagine Frank's going to go whole ass hog on these cops and
Yeah,
try to kill them.
it's gonna be a bloodbath.
Is Daredevil's mission going to be to try and save these corrupt cops from Frank,
Ooh.
to bring them to justice, but not to let Frank kill them? I could definitely see that being a storyline. So I cannot wait to see what this whole thing brings about, because it feels like we just lighted the fuse of
Mhm.
this powder keg that we're sitting on right now. So, and like you said, Muse still needs to come into play. We still got to figure out what's going on with Fisk. We need to figure out who or what Fisk is beating to make his knuckles bloody. So a lot's going on. Can't wait to see it. I'm excited about it.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna
Gonna
be
be good. Sasha, do you have anything else you want to say about this episode before we
no.
conclude this?
No,
Um,
the only other thing, sorry, yes, I did. I was just reading my notes. Is that we also need more from BB, right? And like what's
yeah.
going on there and that whole storyline.
I
So
mean, again, I said it last episode. I would love for it to come out some sort of way
yes,
that BB finds out that Kingpin was the one that killed her uncle. Like, I think that would be a
correct.
really like powerful moment. So I'd love to see that as well. Will we get it? We don't know. We're not the creators of this
Mhm.
show, but we'll see. Yeah. So
We'll wait.
Sasha, do
Yes.
you want to tell the good people where they can find you and all the things you're doing?
Yes. Of course you can find me talking pop culture. You can find we're talking vibes. Anything trending in the celebrity news, we're talking about it. If you want to know why we're talking about Ghost Adventures and the host and the whose wife had a hitman called on him.
Oh,
So
uh-oh.
listen, lots of drama going on over on Mess Magnets. So check that out on messmagnets.com. And of course, Taryn and I are back and we're talking jet lag. It's episode by episode coverage, y'all. So please check that out over on Rapid Podcast YouTube channel. Again, to see our faces, or in the We Know Reality TV feed as well. So check all of that out. What about you, Jason?
For me, if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me at JR33D on Blue Sky. As far as podcasting goes, there's a lot going on right now. Some things are winding down. Asia Welch, and Mary Krukowski talked about the Love is Blind finale and reunion over on the Love at First Sight feed on Rob Has a Podcast. So you can check that out. On that same feed, me and Asia are talking about the show Married at First Sight. That season is also winding down. I got a lot of drama and a lot of mess on that show. So if that is a thing that you're into, hit us up. You can also find me on my podcast, The Good Pod, talking about the show The Good Wife and the spinoff of The Good Wife, Elsbeth, as that is in its second season. We're talking about the second season of both shows. Both shows are winding down in its second season, so we're talking about both of those things. Come and check that out. You can also check me out this week on Silent Podcasts, where I talk to Gia Worthy about the latest episode of Survivor. It was a doozy, so it's going to be quite a discussion, I think. So check that out coming up in the coming days. I also was on a podcast called Altar Call, where I talked about both the Traitors finale and I talked about it's another Married at First Sight podcast. I talked about the same episode of Married at First Sight this week as well with Tane over on Altar Call. A lot of stuff going on in my podcast world, so check all that stuff out. Until next week, bye.
Bye.